Shri Gurubhyo Namah. Hari Om. Om Sahanavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryan Karavavahi Tejasvinabdhitamastu ma Vishavahi. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So the next dharana is varṇasya savisargasya visargāntaṃ citiṃ kuru nirādhāreṇa cittena spṛśedbrahma sanātanam. Varṇasya savisargasya visargāntaṃ citiṃ kuru nirādhāreṇa cittena spṛśedbrahma sanātanam. There is a different reading. Varṇasya savisargasya. Instead of that, the words are interchanged. Savisargasya varṇasya. So there is no much of difference even in the other reading. Varṇasya savisargasya. What does this dharana say? See, the previous dharana we asked you to meditate on a. Okay, that meditation is without bindu and visarga. We said bindu is the seed, the cause for the creation, and the visarga is the creation itself. So they neither cause nor the effect. So that is how without cause and effect, the a, which is of the nature of bhairave itself, we have to meditate upon that. Now, here, give up that a. You have only the bindu and visarga. So, he is asking you to meditate on that bindu and visarga. Savisargasya, he is only talking about visarga, but it also refers to the bindu. Okay. So, the bindu is im and the visarga is ih. Okay. So, he says the character which is with a visarga or a bindu. Now meditate on the end character, which is the visarga and or the bindu. When you meditate on that, when you focus on that, leaving with staying without any support of character, letters, then that mind which is without any support touches the Brahman, the supreme Brahman. Okay? Now, savisargasya varṇasya. Savisarga, every character has, when you say ka, ka, ga, they have akara, the a, etc. Ka, ka, ga, ga, they have a. Without a, you cannot pronounce. Okay. Now, whether it is kakaradi, ksharanta, the consonants, or the vowels, okay, if it is added with im or visarga, the two dots. Im is one dot above, visarga is two dots on the sides. When it is added with these, then what happens is, when you add the bindu, just the upper dot, then it becomes a bija mantra, they call it. That is bija, dot is bija. A mantra, a character with that dot becomes bija mantra. Okay. So now, if for im, lum, rum, etc., whatever that may be, the final character remains as okay, im. Now, if it is a visarga, visarga is those two dots which is normally written with a h and a small h and a dot below. So it is produced from the throat. Okay. But the Vedic system does not produce it from the throat. Akuha visarjeniyanam kantaha. That is how it is said. It should be produced from the throat. But when you chant the Vedic mantras, they are not produced from one particular place, but according to the vowel, they also are associated with that place. When it is with a, it is throat. When it is with e, it is the inner tongue, the tonsil area. When it is u, it is the lips. Like that. For example, purnamadaha. Okay. There, daha. Ha. With a, it becomes ha kind of, okay, ha. Then shanti, 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 shanti. Do you understand? Shanti, shanti with e it becomes e. So with the vowels, it takes the characteristics of that vowel and it is pronounced in that same place normally. Now here what we are asking you to do is you should not concentrate on the pronounced character. This visarga or bindu, you should not focus on the pronunciation because it cannot be pronounced. Without any supporting character letter, it cannot be pronounced. So pronounced character is called as vaikhari. Now, before the vaikhari, there is a state called madhyama, the desire, the intent to pronounce it. Now, your whole intention, your whole focus should be in that intention of visarga or bindu. So he says, nirādhāreṇa cittena, when the mind is without any support of the vowels, then spṛśedbrahma sanātanam. Sanātanam means eternal, old, eternal. Okay. And spṛśed, Brahma means the self. Spṛśed means touches. Here you will touch the absolute, the eternal self. That is how it should be interpreted, but it is not that. Touching means you become one with that. You cannot be a person who is touching it and the Brahman is touched. There is no duality here. So you become one with that Brahman. That is what is said here. Okay. Some people say akara is Shiva, bindu is Shunya, and visarga, two dots, visarga is srishti, etc. But this is simple enough. This is a shambho upaya. Because you have to focus on something which cannot be pronounced, which is not pronounced. So that in that way it is a shambhavapaya. In fact, the reason behind it being connected with Brahman is nirguna, without any attribute. Similarly, Brahman is anirvachaniya, cannot be explained. Mano vachama gocharam, it cannot be explained. Similarly, this visarga and bindu without any association with vowel cannot be pronounced. Anirvachaniya cannot be pronounced, cannot be said, expressed. So that is why it is equated with that Brahman. Okay. Now, next Dhāraṇā, vyomākāraṃ svamātmānaṃ, dhyāyeddigbhiranāvṛtam, nirāśrayā citiḥ śaktiḥ, svarūpaṃ darśayettadā, vyomākāraṃ svamātmānaṃ dhyāyeddigbhiranāvṛtam, nirāśrayā citiḥ śaktiḥ, svarūpaṃ darśayettadā. So what this Dhāraṇā says is, you have to meditate that your Atma, let us put it as Atma, we are not going to interpret it now. You have to meditate that your Atma has become the space without the limitations of directions. Okay, it has become the space. Now, at that point of time, the knowledge which is of the space or anything is without any support. Then at that point of time, the inherent nature of yourself manifests. You see that. Okay, that is what this Dhāraṇā says. Digbhiranāvṛtam vyomākāraṃ svamātmānaṃ. Svamātmānaṃ digbhiranāvṛtam vyomākāraṃ dhyāyat. That is the first line. Svamātmānaṃ, yourself. Swam, your atmanam, self. Okay. Digbhiranāvṛtam, without associated with the directions, vyomākāraṃ, of the form of space, dhyāyat, meditate. Okay. That is what is the Dhāraṇā. Now, if you remember, we had a similar Dhāraṇā where the 85th Dhāraṇā, where 85th shloka actually, where you have to meditate upon the whole space existing in your skull. Remember that, you will not forget it. So, or in your heart, anywhere you can meditate, either in your heart or in your skull. So you are bringing all the space and fitting it in your skull. Inside the skull, everything, all the space exists. The whole creation exists in your skull. That is how we meditated. Here, the Atma has two interpretations. Atma has multiple interpretations. When we study Vedanta, I explain again and again, Atma can be interpreted in any which way, right from your shoe or slippers to the self. Anything. Slippers to the self, how can that be? How can you make the self to be cheap? No, self is not cheap. Atma word can be used in any which way. Let me say, body is accepted as Atma, Dehatma. Indriya is accepted as Atma, sense organs. Indriya Atma. Okay. Slippers is slipper Atma. How? Because if let us say, if your slippers are very costly, or a comfortable one which is a fit made for you. Now, even you are going to a temple where you have to leave the chappals outside. When you go to the temple, leaving the chappals outside, your whole thought will be in your chappal. No one should steal it. What if someone steals it? So, instead of seeing the God, you will be seeing your chappal. I have said this, right? So, the point is, that is your own self. You have identified with the chappal so much, or the car, or your cell phone. If something happens, you are broken. Cell phone breaks, you break. The car has a problem, you have a problem. So the identification makes it yourself. Okay. So here, svamātmānaṃ can either mean your individual self, jiva, or the body. It is better to accept it as a body. Okay. That way, because if you accept as jivatma, svamātmānaṃ as jivatma, then it becomes a shaktopaya or something which is impossible for us to practice. But if you take it, if you take the atma, the word atma to mean the body, then it becomes an anavopaya where you can practice it. Okay. So, and it is a good sadhana, it is a good practice for you to give up the identification with the body sense organ complex, with this body. Attachment with the body can be lost. How? You have to see the space is space is divided into directions: east, west, north, south, etc. These directions are with reference to the reference point of sun. Okay. The space is also divided into front, back, right, left, etc., which is with reference to the body as the center point. The space has a blue color, black color, etc. That is also with reference to the perceiver, from where one perceives. From here, when you perceive, you see the color different. When you see it from the skies, in the space, it is different. So, from the place of perceiver and the perceiver, it differs. So, we are not going to associate ourselves with the directions. We are not going to associate ourselves with the front, back, etc., sides. We are not going to associate ourselves with the colors. Nothing. Meaning, we are going to take the space as a attributeless for what it is. Space is unattributed. So, we are going to take it at that. Now, when space, which is unattributed, self is unattributed. Space is also nirguna, self is also nirguna. Okay? Now, space is also niravayava, self is also niravayava. Space is also nishkriya, self is also nishkriya, without activities. So, attributeless, attributeless. Activityless. Okay. So, limbless, limbless. Everything is same except one. Space is effect. Self is neither effect nor cause. That is the only difference. Otherwise, everything almost is same. Now, you have to meditate, not that the whole space is fitting in my body. My body is giving space to. It's a stupid idea. Space means the ether means that which gives space for things. Avakasha pradatritvam akasham, that which gives place for something to exist is space. So your body is not expanding to accommodate the self, or you are not going to bring in the self, the space inside your body. No. What you are going to meditate is you are going to forget the identification, the limitation of body, because there is no front, back, etc. There is no east, west, etc. So you are going to forget the limitations of the body and see your body to be merged in the space, to be one with the space, not different from the space. That is why he says vyomākāraṃ, of the form of space, dhyāyeddigbhiranāvṛtam. You have to meditate. You have to meditate that the body is of the form of the space. Okay, giving up the limiting adjunct. That's why anavratam, leaving the limiting adjuncts, limitations. Nirāśrayā, at that point of time, the mind has nothing to hold on to, because there is no object here to hold on to. There is only space, which is the knowledge space. Chidambara. Chidambara is a place in Tamil Nadu where I've said about this already. There is the famous statue of Nataraja, Shiva dancing posture. This is also kept in the CERN, in the science laboratory of CERN. They have this. Okay, that's all different thing. Now, you have to meditate that without limitations, you have become that space, without any support. When that, because everything is supported by space, everything is in space. Now, when that itself is gone, then there is no support, there is no supporter. So, citiḥ svarūpaṃ darśayettadā. When this citiḥ, the knowledge principle, is without any support, because śaktiḥ abheda, the power and the wielder of power is identical. That is why we don't see the bhairave to be different from bhairava, or bhairava to be different from bhairave. For example, the fire, when you say fire, what is fire? Fire is that which has effulgence and heat. That produces heat and light is fire, right? So you cannot separate the heat and light from fire. Fire means heat and light, that's all. So in this way, the Shakti, becomes identified with the space. It is not different from space now. At that point of time, tada svarūpaṃ darshayet, you see the inherent nature, svarūpaṃ, svarūpaṃ, your inherent nature. Okay, now this is ana upaya. Though if you take it as jivatma, then it becomes a shakta upaya, leading to shambha upaya. But since you are taking it as body, you are merging the body, you are disidentifying your limitations of body and seeing yourself as the all pervading space. Now this has become ana upaya. Okay, this we can practice. Sit in a comfortable posture. Forget the limitations of body sense organ complex. See the body to have merged with the space, and you have merged with the space. Now there is only space. There is only you. There is no front, back, top, left, right, extra. There is no east, west, etc. There are no colors. You are just meditating on that existence, that space. Oh. So here we are not identifying ourselves with anything. There is no we have become space. There is no you space. You space. That's all. Space. Only space. You are spaced out. That's what it is. Okay. Why we have to say this is we are not meditating on the void. There is no darkness also. In the earlier dharana, we made sure that we are meditating on that darkness as bhairava, the color of bhairava. Here we are not even doing that because here the whole sadhana is that you have become space, existence, something, not something which does not exist. Okay, not some illusion. You are meditating on the existing thing. Next. किञ्चिदङ्गं बिभिद्यादौ तीक्ष्णसूच्यादिना ततः तत्रैव चेतनां युक्त्वा भैरवे निर्मला गतिः किञ्चिदङ्गं बिभिद्य आदौ तीक्ष्णसूच्यादिना ततः तत्रैव चेतनां युक्त्वा भैरवे निर्मला गतिः. Instead of yuktva, some places in other reading it is yukta, and bhairave, instead of bhairave there is a reading bhairavi. Does not really matter actually. Okay, now what does this dharana say? This dharana asks you to poke yourself with a needle in anywhere in your body. Needle or anything can be. Make pain, you have to create pain with any instrument that causes pain. Then focus on that pain. Wherever you inflicted pain, focus on that pain. When you focus on that pain vanishes, then you become that seer himself. Bhairave nirmalā gatiḥ. Bhairave nirmalā gatiḥ. That is what nirmalā, the pure state of bhairava, you reach, you gain. Adau tīkṣṇasūcyādinā kiñcidaṅgaṃ vibhidyādau. That is what said. Adau, at the beginning, tīkṣṇasūcyādinā. Tīkṣṇa means sharp. Suchi means a needle. Adina, etc. With a needle, etc. Kiñcidaṅgaṃ, any part of your body, vibhidya, you have to poke. You have to inflict pain. Now, it can be a stick, you can beat yourself, or you can pinch yourself, you can pierce yourself, anything. But the problem is the Shastras, the Vedas, they categorically negate any kind of infliction of pain. We already saw this. For sake of meditation, we asked you to touch the forehead or lightly pinch your forehead or the chest area so that you can focus on that. Just for sake of that, using this dharana there. But other than that, you should not see. Though the Vaishnavas have a tradition of having themselves marked like a cow. The cow is branded, right? They put a hot iron design and they brand the cows. Similarly, the Vaishnavas have a branding. Shankha and chakra, a conch and a disc. They brand themselves on both their shoulders. That's branding actually. They put it they seal, they put it in the fire and then place it on the shoulders. Now that is also wrong. It should not be done. Okay, any kind of these tattoos and all, that is why they are also prohibited. They should not be done. It's a kind of infliction of pain, right? Now, here, if you don't inflict pain, then how can I do this dharana? This dharana itself is impossible if you don't inflict pain, right? So, how can you do dharana? Simple. You don't have to inflict pain. You are already in pain. You just sit for some time. You will know where and all you have pains. The mere sitting itself is painful for us because we are not used to. I'm not talking about the Westerners, Easterners, etc. I'm talking about even Indians. The Indians, except for these sadhus, The householders also, they have lost. The new kids, Gen Z, Gen Z, Y, Z, etc., they have definitely lost the habit of sitting on the ground. Okay. So, except for the Brahmins who chant Vedas or the priests who do the pujas, etc., the habit of sitting in asana is a lost technique in India also. Okay. Now, so whether it is Indian or Western, it does not really matter. You sit for some time, anyone will have pain. It is just they don't give importance to the pain. They just want to focus on the mantra. They just chant. That's all. Otherwise, everyone will have pain. So what you have to do is sit in a posture, any cross-legged or any posture. Okay. After sitting for some time, you are going to experience the pain. Tataḥ, tatraiva. Tatraiva means in that place where you have poked, where you have inflicted pain, in that very area, that very place. Cetanāṃ yuktvā, you have to focus your mind. Now, after sitting for so long, my knee joints are paining, or my shoulder joints are paining, or my neck is paining. So now, instead of massaging it or trying to get rid of that pain, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that pain to understand the truth. How? I'm going to focus on that area of pain, wherever that pain is coming from. I'm going to just focus on that pain area, that pain. Now, the pain does not exist different from the self. Bhairave, it becomes one with the bhairava, one with the self. Then the self will become painful. True, that's a good interpretation. But the problem is, self is devoid of any attribute, so it cannot become painful or blissful. So that's a gone thing. So what does then one, it becomes one with the self means is there is no sincere relationship there. The self becomes pain or the pain becomes self does not mean there is a pain. What it means is there is no sincere relationship. There is no experiencer experienced relationship. Therefore, there is since there is absence of duality, nirmalā gatiḥ, pure gatiḥ. Gati means gati is the root word to mean to go, to know, to reach. Gati jnana prapti, to go, to know, to gain, or to reach. In these three ways it is used. Here gati means to know. Bhairave nirmalā gatiḥ. You gain that pure, this you understand immediate knowledge, you gain the immediate knowledge of the pure self, Bhairava. That is what this sadhana says. This practice, since it is something which is experienced by us, it's a Vedana, it's an experience we all have. The pain is an experience, in pain of body, etc., is an experience which we all have. So it is not difficult to practice. So this is an Ana Upaya. Don't take it as Shakta Upaya or Shambha Upaya. It is simple. It is an Ana Upaya because we are going to focus on the pain. Okay. So even if you are going to focus on the pain, even if you are not going to gain the state of Bhairava, does not really matter. You will lose the idea of pain. Okay. Now, sitting in the posture, any asana, comfortable or otherwise, does not really matter. Even the comfortable asana will feel painful. Sitting in the asana, after some time, I feel pain in the knee joints. I feel pain in the hip joints, in my backbone, the shoulders, my neck. Instead of focusing on these different pains, I'm focusing on one area. my right knee or my neck. And I'm just going to focus on that pain. Choose one area and focus. Om. So when you focus, the pain dissolves. You no more see the pain because there is no experiencer there. Okay? You'll see this. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamādāya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.